Hello there, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share and comment on this video. Also, this is saying a big thank you once again to all our subscribers for your support and encouragement. Now, if it's your first time here or if you have been here before and not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and become part of the family. Also, click the bell icon. That way you'll never miss any of our videos. Today, I'll be showing you how to cut and sew 180-degree or half circle maxi skirt with side seam pockets. In my previous video, I showed you how to cut different types of circle skirts. Please check the link in the description below to see this video. We will cut and sew the 180 skirt today. Note that you can use the sewing steps shown here to sew any circle skirt. The items I need for this project are the fabric. I've already pre-washed my fabric. This is an African print cotton fabric. My tape measure, ruler. In this case, I'm using a meter rule. Tailor's chalk, thread, pins, and of course the sewing machine to join the pieces. You can shop these items using links in the description below. The measurements I need for making this skirt is the waist and desired length. In this case, waist is 32 inches and length 40 inches. So take your own measurements and use them for making your own skirt. Then the calculations for it is the waist 32 inches plus extra 2 inches for seam and zip allowance. So that gives us 34 inches. Next, we divide the 34 inches by 3.14. Note that this 3.14 is a constant to calculate radius. So this gives us the radius to cut out of 10.8 inches. Now the full length to cut out, including the radius of 10.8, will be the 10.8 plus 40 inches length plus 1 inch. The 1 inch is an extra inch for the seam and hem allowance, so we have 51.8 inches. Now we have our measurements and calculations. Let's jump straight into cutting our skirt. Now we need to measure out the 51.8 inches along the width and length of the fabric. We have up to 51.8 inches at the length, but not enough at the width since it's only a 45 inches in width fabric. So we need to attach some more fabric to complete the 51.8 inches. But first, I'll go ahead and measure the 51.8 inches along the length and then fold it over like so. This means I will cut out along the length 51.8 inches and another 51.8 inches, making 103.6 inches since I folded the fabric in two. Next, I'll go ahead and cut it out. In terms of how you fold the fabric for 180-degree skirt, you can either have it folded in two like so, or you can decide to fold it this way into a triangle. In this case, I'm going to have it folded in two like this. So starting from the top, I'm going to measure 10.8 inches and mark. So I will keep going round and measure the same distance right through. So this line will be the waist line. The next thing we need to measure is the length, and this is 51.8 inches. So starting from the top, we measure out 51.8 inches and mark. Now you will notice that on the opposite side, on this side, we don't have enough because this fabric is by 45 inches. So we'll need to join it, and I'm going to show you how you will do that. But first, we'll mark all round as much as possible. So we'll mark the 51.8 inches all round as much as possible. So here I've marked the waist, and I've also marked the full length up to here.
Like I said, because this fabric is by 45, that full length doesn't go right over here. So
but over here,
go ahead and join it. I need to join
because this fabric is by 45 inches, we're not able to get the full length of 51.8 inches. So I'm going to have to join it. So I'll go ahead and cut out this way and then flip it around and join it.
So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what I'm doing.
So I'll use this cutout fabric now and join it to complete the length.
Like so. And then just pin it.
So remember to overlap while pinning it so that you can make provision for seam allowance to join the pieces together. So that's what I'm doing here. Now we measure out and mark the full length of 51.8 inches all round, like so. Our length is now complete and we'll go ahead and cut it out. If you notice, I'm cutting slightly below the marking so that when I have joined it, I will have no shortage and I can trim off any excess. So I'll go ahead and join it now and come back and show you. But first, I'll be cutting out the waist. Here I'm cutting out the waist. Here's a full view of the skirt cut out. I've gone ahead to join the pieces here, completing the length. I like to place the joining to the side of the skirt. Bust cut, making sure everything is going okay here. Because I'm going to be inserting side seam pockets, so I will split the skirt piece in half like so, creating the front and back pieces. So this will be the front piece. So I'll set this aside now. And then this will be the back. And on this back, we are still going to split into two, because we are going to have a zipper. Remember that was why we added the extra inches for the seam and zip allowance. I'll be using 3/4 inches for the zip. So I'll notch at 3/4 inches like so, and the back is now ready. So the next thing I'm cutting out now is the pockets. So I'm just going to use these pieces that we have here. I have 4 pieces. Usually you would just cut enough to cover your palms. So I draw around my palms like so, allowing enough for seam allowance at the edge, and cut it out like so. I don't want this part to show, so I cut it off. Now we need about 6.5 to 7 inches opening. I'll come up 2 inches and mark, and then from that I'll mark 7 inches and mark, and then reshape. Then I check 1/2 inch for the seam allowance. So I reshape it like so, and then notch at the 7 inches point at the top, and the pocket is now ready. The next thing I'm going to cut out is the waistband. Remember that the waist measurement we're using here is 32 inches, and then we add 2 inches to that, making 34 inches. So I'll cut out a rectangle of fabric, length 34 inches and the width 3.5 inches like so. Here I have the fabric on fold, so I measure 17 inches by 3.5 inches and cut out. I also cut out interfacing of the same measurement like so. In terms of where to place the pocket, we measure down from the waist 2.5 inches and place a mark there, and that is where the notching that we made at the top part of the pocket will be aligned when sewing like so. So this notching that we have on the pocket will be placed on top of this mark on the skirt, and we notch the mark on the skirt with a snip like so. So when sewing, we'll place the 2 notches together Also, make sure that you notch the center front. And we've already notched the 3/4 inches zip allowance at the back, like here. So now the other measurement we need to take is the zip stopping point. That's how long we want the zip to be at the back. So here I'm going to have it to be 8 inches and 1/2 inch at the top for seam allowance. So I'm going to mark 8.5 inches and I will place a notch with a snip. Now note that because this part is unbiased, it may stretch. You can see how it could stretch. So we're going to need to stabilize it with some interfacing so that it does not stretch out when we're fixing the zip. So I'm going to cut some interfacing, which I will use here. So I'll go ahead and cut it out and iron it on. So we have everything ready now. Let's go ahead and sew the skirt. I'll show you the steps as I sew. Our first step is to attach the pocket pieces to the front and back side seams. But I have to first of all check and identify the right and wrong sides of the fabric. Right side, and this is the wrong side. So I mark it with an X like I did. I'm doing the same here. Mark it with an X to identify that wrong side. Next, I'll go ahead and mark the same on the pocket. Now I'm going to attach the pocket by placing the right side of the pocket to the right side of the skirt, like so. And I make sure to match the notches and pin. And I'll go ahead and do the same on all the pocket pieces.
Just touching it. So we sew only up to the where we have the notch and we stop. So after joining the pocket to the front side, we will understitch the pocket side. So we'll do the same on the other side of the front pocket only. We will not do this understitching at the back. So the other thing we can do, it's optional, but I find that it helps, is that because this is cotton bias, it's important to stay stitch the waistline so that it doesn't keep stretching, because it can stretch and get out of shape or increase more than you just come at a distance of about 3/8. You just run a stitch. So it is not a gathering stitch. You use your regular stitch length to do this. It's just to help keep the waist in shape so that it doesn't stretch out of shape. Do the same for the back as well. So I'll go ahead and iron all the stitches, all the seams that we made so far. Okay. I'll set that aside. Do the same for the back. So notice that we didn't join up to the end. We just joined up to the end. Next, we'll iron the interfacing at the back. Remember that we don't want it to stretch out of shape when we're fixing the zip, so we decided to apply some interfacing to it as a good way to stabilize the fabric. So here I'm applying the interfacing to the skirt waistband. And then you fold in about 1/2 inch. Like this is how you prepare the waistband. And you do that right through. Next, fold again, leaving about 1/2 inch space in here, which is what we will use to attach it to the skirt. Okay, so that's it. That's a step I'm doing. So the next step is to attach the zip, but before that, we're going to join the back, the center back, this way. So you remember we've already applied the interfacing, but we'll place right sides together, like so. And also we've notched where the zip will be up to, so we'll place the notching together. And we'll go ahead and use the 3/4 inch zip and join all the way. So because this part of the skirt is unbiased, make sure that you're not pulling while sewing. So just hold down gently, but do not pull, otherwise it will stretch out of shape. This is what we have. But we've left this part open. So you can go ahead to iron it if you would struggle with getting a problem like this. The same on this side. Okay. So we're now going to attach the zip. But before then, I'll go ahead and overlock it so that we can have a clean finish on the inside. So this is what we have so far. After overlocking it, now we're going to attach the zip. It's going to be a lapped zip. So let's go ahead. I don't have a skirt zip, so I'm going to use a longer one, but I will cut it and then close it in a neat finish, which I will show you. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a skirt zip, you can always use any one you have. So I'll go ahead and attach the zip now. So before attaching the zip, I need to change the foot to the zipper foot. Then I'll touch this one. That's it. That's nice. Okay. Come a little lower than where you stitched up to, and then leave the needle in the fabric and pivot around it like this. And then leave the needle again and pivot around it. So you can see that because of the zip head, you'll not be able to sew that easily. So what you do at this point, you open up that zip so that you'll be able to come right through completely. That's it.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we have so far. Here is the zip, which has been attached. So the next thing we're doing is to join the pockets. So facing right side of, this is the right side of the back skirt, and this is the right side of the front. So I'm going to place the two right sides together, so, and then match the pockets together. I'm going to go ahead and sew it like this. So starting from the waist, so then have an inch, come all the way, getting to where we have this notching. So where I have this notching, I go ahead and navigate this way, making sure that these pockets are properly aligned together. So navigate around, sewing the half an inch all the way, like so. And then back to this point. So you see I've gone like a loop and then back here, and then I'll carry on sewing all the way down. So we'll start sewing from here. Just make sure that the front and back are aligned properly. So when I get here, I like to double stitch it just to reinforce it, and then we need the needle in the fabric and we pivot around it like so. So just keep making sure that you check that the two are aligned properly. So keep maintaining your half-inch seam allowance. Okay. And then leave your needle in the fabric. Take off the presser foot and then pivot again. So at this point as well, I like to reverse stitch. So just to reinforce the stitches. Remember that when you put your hand into your pocket over and over, it can make that place to start loosening out. So I like to reinforce it as well there, and then carry on stitching all the way down. Okay, so since my zip is much longer than I need, so I will cut it here, but then I will use a piece of the fabric to close up the end of it. And this one you can bend. So that's gonna have a clean end of the zip. So you can do. So this is what I'll try to do. Here is the step made. This is the pocket. So the only thing left now is to go ahead and fix the waistband, and then the hem, and we're done. So we'll go ahead now to fix the waistband. So here is the waistband. We're going to attach it to the skirt now. So go ahead and open the zip first, and we're going to attach it from the inside out, so we'll match the right side of the waistband like this to the wrong side of the skirt, leaving enough to be able to close it. So we leave some seam allowance out there, and then we start to sew. So we sew on the side of the waistband like this. So we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew that. Make sure you're not pulling your skirt as you go along, so you don't cause it to stretch unnecessarily, even though we've already stretched it. Once we finish joining the ends, the next step is to close the ends. So I'll go ahead and, the 1/2 inch I will have on the two sides. So we'll go ahead and hold it together and then stitch. On one side. On the other side, we need some extra for the skirt band to be able to lap. So you can decide how much you want. About 1 inch is enough actually for it. So you can go ahead and reduce this. And close that as well. So we'll go ahead now. Next thing is to top stitch all the way. A little bit of elastic to the sides. So I've cut out the elastic I want to add, and that is about 4 inches. So that's 2 inches on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'll measure from the waist, the center side seam line there, and I'll mark 3 inches. So I'll do the same to the other side. Inch mark. So I make sure not to sew it at the center line and not at the seam line, so that when I turn it, the elastic wouldn't get in the way. Okay. Can go ahead now to close the waistband. Okay, just keep making sure that you are aligning everything properly as you sew.
Skirt band now completed. Next step is to hem the skirt, but before hemming, it's important to allow the skirt to hang overnight like I've done here, so we can true the hemline properly before hemming it. So we have the skirt which we have allowed to hang overnight. If you don't have that much time to do so, you can let it hang for a few hours. Now we'll check and true the hem to make sure we have equal length all through, as some parts may have stretched out and it's now looking longer. So we'll go ahead and true the hemline, and we'll do this by measuring out the length. So here I'm measuring out the length of 41.5 inches, and this includes the hem allowance of ½ inch, and I'll mark that right through. Next is to trim off any excess, like so. I'll now go ahead and hem the skirt.
Okay, so here I'm hemming the skirt with about ½ inch seam allowance. So I fold it in a ¼ inch and then another ¼ inch. If you will struggle with it, you can actually go and iron it before too.
So here you see we have a really clean finish at the hem. So here is a fully completed skirt. The hem has been done, the waistband done, and I've also gone ahead to fix the skirt hook. So all is done on the skirt. As you can see, we have a really clean finish on the inside. I went ahead and overlocked the seams. Now this is the pocket, and that's the pocket on the other side. If you don't have an overlocking machine, you can go ahead and use a zigzag scissors or any other method of knitting seams will do. Hope you found this video useful. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. See you in my next video. Bye for now.